There are other different types of dementia, and depending upon where the difficulties lie, that in the illness determines the course of treatment.
Yes, you can. All you have to do is want to do it.
Yes.
Want to be it.
When you set your mind to it, and this is who you are, and
the grown men. We have the youth that we need to mentor, and we need to inspire, and we need to motivate. But I know, as a recent conversation between you and I, that you're also in the business of motivating grown men. Through that, I'm supposed to see God in it at every turn. So me going to the Sea of Galilee was to remind me of that, to refresh myself of that. It is all under control, that He does have it. It's just as clear as that fresh water that I saw.
You're Our Unity, hosted by LeShawn Walker, Tuesday nights, 6 p.m. EST.
Welcome, everyone, to You're Our Unity, a show that wishes to spread a spirit of peace and love in the world, one conversation at a time. We want to encourage you to build better connections and relationships with the young people in your life. Put yourself in their setting. Be around them for a little while. Just immerse yourself in their element and allow them to share with you the things that are on their heart, their fears, their hopes, their dreams. Allow that comfortable atmosphere to just permeate so that they are able to feel comfortable enough to share with you everything that is on their mind. I am your host, LeShawn Walker. I'd like to welcome you in. Please like, share, and follow. Let everyone know that we're on right now. So how are you guys doing? I hope that you had a wonderful week so far. I've just been, as you know, celebrating and partying. It is cancer season, and everyone I know and their mother's birthday is this month, literally. And so I just wanted to share with you really what I have been doing, what kind of celebrating I've actually been doing. My daughter's birthday was on July 17th. This year she was away in California, kind of living her life, but this past weekend we were able to get together and celebrate her birthday, her hopes, her dreams. We went out, I kind of crashed her party with her friends, and it was amazing. We had such a great time. These young folks just really just connected with me, shared so much with me. It was more about us just really talking about the future and the state of the world and the real life issues that are going on, opposed to, you know, clinking glasses with champagne and Cavassier and Hennessy or whatever these young kids are drinking today. I don't know. But the bottom line was amazing. And I crashed this party with my friend Tracy, whose birthday was on July 21st. We celebrated her birthday on her actual birthday at the 50th Hip Hop Pass the Mic concert, and it was amazing. And if anyone knows me, you know that I am a diehard hip hop fan. Rakim, Method Man, all of them. I just love the music. I love the culture. I was brought up in it, raised in it, and it is everything that fills my spirit. It is the music of my heart. So this weekend, when I crashed this party, this penthouse rooftop experience with all of these grown folks, but still around these young minds, it was so heartwarming. It was uplifting. It was also very, very important, I feel, for me to be in that moment at that time. My daughter is growing up. She's trying to figure out who she is. And even though she's 27 and she may be mature to a lot of people, this world is so changed and so different than when I was her age that she has to figure out how to navigate a more harder path than maybe I had. She has to figure out more, not just about herself, but also about the world around her and how ever changing it actually is. The very rights that I had years ago that I never even thought I would have to contend with or worry about, she's now fighting for. So these conversations with these young men and women was about them trying to figure out their path for their future and how they can make a change in the world. They weren't weren't just worried about, you know, that next car they're going to buy and the next party they're going to go to. They were worried about how they can be the best version of themselves and give back to the world that very thing. And they wanted to learn a different path, maybe not skipping the steps, but just learning maybe a more less traveled path that allows them to reveal the creativity, the innovation, the ideas, the ideology that they have that they want to share with the world. They have a heart, and I was so happy to be there to listen to their heart sing, their heart beat, their heart speak. It was amazing. And I was so glad that my friend Tracy was there also to share and drop jewels into these young women that were there just looking at her and seeing her as an inspiration. It was amazing, and it is something that I implore, I advise, I hope that all of you out there, all of you parents, all of you grandparents, take that time, put yourself, join them in their element, in their space. Have a conversation with them. You would be amazed at the things that you will uncover about your children and about your grandchildren. They have more on their mind than maybe you think. So allow them to express it. I'm so serious, it is amazing. I feel that we bridged the gap between my generation and theirs while we were partying and literally drinking champagne and eating cake and listening to dope music. It was all of that. I was even delusional to think I was 20, 25 years old again, but it felt good because we were able to relate, and it was all because we're thinking about the same things. So parents, please speak to your children. You would be so impressed with how innovative their minds are and how thoughtful their heart is right now. So I want to do that with you today. I didn't do it with my daughter. I didn't really get deep down in conversation about serving and giving back and things like that, but we're going to discuss that with these amazing young ladies today who are in the same age group as my daughter and who are doing things right now, making moves and trying to create this amazing future that they've dreamed of as children, and also what they know this world can be if we all just work together. So we're going to speak to the young ladies of Youth Community, and the title of the show is Bridging the Gap. We're going to speak to Alyssa Allwood, 24, who loves to sing and enjoys nature, and Sienna Brown, who's 25, who loves to spend quality time with loved ones and meditate. And they are a part of a group of ambitious women with a passion for uplifting communities and its youth. Youth Community was founded November 5th, 2020 by Alyssa Allwood, Janaea Roberts, and Alexa Allwood. The organization is dedicated to helping children, families, and those in need through community service. The goal is to create a productive and safe space where members of the community are encouraged to tap into their greatest potentials through arts, mentorship, charity, sports, education, and so much more. Their mission is to positively impact the community by bridging the gap between the leaders of today and the leaders of tomorrow. So please help me welcome the beautiful, smart, educated, and ready to serve their community, Miss Alyssa and Sienna from Youth Community. How are you guys?
Good, great. Thank you.
Oh my God, thank you for being here. I know it was a challenge as it was for me, but we made it, girls.
Yes.
So it is a blessing to have you here. It really is. I met these young ladies about a month ago. A friend of the show, Your Our Unity, who's previous guest, actually met them at an event, and she just was so impressed by them. She's, oh my God, you've got to meet these young ladies. And so we had a meeting. They told me what their mission was, and I just was so impressed at this young age that they had these thoughts on their minds, these ideas on their minds that I thought only adults thought about and cared about, you know? So the fact that you want to serve your community, you want to start now, I want to talk about that and how I can get my daughter and her friends to get involved
Yes,
as well. Exactly. So thank you again for being here.
Thank you for having having us.
No problem. So you are part of an organization called Youth Community, YOU''TH, right? And community. How did that come about? But I usually ask that question, but I forgot to ask. Tell me about your childhood real quick. Like, where did you grow up? Tell me a little about your background. I want to ask you first, Alyssa, and then I want you to share, Sienna.
So background-wise, I'm first generation American in my family. My family comes from the West Indies, Jamaica specifically, and England.
Oh, wow.
So I grew up in New York all my life. However, I live right on the border of New York and Long Island.
Okay.
So when people from New York come to my house, like friends, they'll be like, oh, you don't live in New York, you live in Long Island. But when friends from Long Island come over, they say, you don't live in Long Island, you live in New York. So I just always say I live in New York / Long Island.
Right.
You know, I'm right on the border. Lived in the same neighborhood my whole life.
Wow.
Will I stay here my whole life? We'll see. But that's me.
That's you. Oh, I love it. And you, Sienna?
Yes, I am from Queens, New York.
Okay.
I grew up with Alyssa as well. We're like childhood friends. But I am from a Jamaican British household as well. So I believe I met Alyssa when I was about like we was like
5?
Right, 5.
Wow.
So like we've just been like she has a twin sister, so I say I'm their triplet.
Yes, you
'cause, like,
are.
we're really close. But I would say like growing up in the church is what really inspired me to like be a part of youth community.
Right.
Like being in outreach
Yes.
and feeding the homeless and all that. So that's really my upbringing, like
Yes.
just helping others.
I love that. So that kind of was already instilled in you guys at a young age.
Yeah, but we actually went to like a Beacon program.
Yeah.
We went to the same summer camps, after schools. We did a lot of things
And then ended
together.
up going to the same church. So,
Yeah, it was like a lot. And actually, like those summer camps and after school programs that we went to is a part of kind of what pushed me to do something like youth. Like being in those spaces at such a young age and being exposed to things I wouldn't have been if I was just cooped up in the house all day.
Right.
So yeah.
No, I totally get that. I love that actually, because that also opens up your world to other people, you know, and what they're going through and having a heart for that. And I think you being immersed in that as a child is really, really great. And it's serving the community that they live in right now. So youth community, you're in school, you're in college now, you've had your fun, you're on this path now to figuring out who you are as an adult. You get out of school and was you in school when you and your the partners actually came up with this idea for youth community?
So yes, we were in school. So Alexa, Janai, and I, we all went to the same college, and at our university, like we knew that we became friends, and through conversation with friends, we learned that we all have similar interests in giving back, and one day specifically opening a community center. Like I had to do a whole project for one of like my business accounting classes, something, and I put together a proposal of what would be this community center, and I think if Alexa and Janai were here, they'd correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that was the conversation that kind of like introduced the fact that, oh, we all want to do something like this. Like, oh, Alyssa, you're doing this project. I even want to do that. I want to do that. So that's how it started. I am more from an arts background. I went to performing arts high school. When I was in those after school programs, like singing, being in the plays, Alexa, she's very much into like keeping kids active and healthy, like sports side. Janai, she's very much into mental health awareness, even at a young age. So the fact that the three of us had 3 different like fields in a sense that we kind of like were most interested in, we thought, hey, combine them.
Yes.
Like, you know, so and then we all graduated. The pandemic happened. And amidst the pandemic, with the influence by like friends and family encouraging us, we were just like, why don't we start now?
Yeah.
Like in college, we would always say, because we all knew this, like, oh, when we're older and retired, we'll connect again and start this. But then we were like, wait, why don't we just do this now? There's no better time than now. And one thing that the pandemic taught us is that tomorrow's not promised to anyone.
That's right.
So if you want to do something, if you're passionate about it, do it. God is giving you the tools. He gives you the ability. So go ahead and implement it. So, yeah.
Yes, I love that. And that is so true. Just do it. I'm so glad that you guys didn't wait. And then you didn't, just for that opportunity or the right time or when I had the money or a lot of things that a lot of adults did back 20 years ago, 25 years ago. They wanted to wait for that perfect opportunity to arise. And quite honestly, there are a lot of dreams that have gone attempted because of the fact that that opportunity never came, and you were just living in the life that unfortunately you created, but not that you pursued and you dreamed. So I am so glad that you guys did not let that stop you. And I think the pandemic also, we were at a standstill. It was like nothing else for us to do but to be creative, open up our minds. So I love that. So tell me, youth community started with you, Alexa and Janaea. Tell us about the other girls. How did you bring them aboard?
So as we began doing little things here and there, because we started off very much virtual, Sienna, our other team member, Stephanie, like they saw what we were doing and they just said, hey, like that's cool. Like, you know, we would see who would actually come to the event, who was actually willing to donate, who gave us those words of encouragement and those words of, hey, like, I want to join you guys. Let me know when the next thing's happening. Like I would love to volunteer. So Sienna and Stephanie were two of those people, and that's our core team. We also have Ikwa and Jaquel.
Okay.
They're both in college still, so their schedules we work with. We understand though that they have school, they have tests and stuff of that nature. But that's our core team. Then we also have Zakia, who's one of our main volunteers who helps out a ton, especially with our social media.
Love that. So tell us exactly what youth community is and what your mission is.
So Youth Community, we are a community organization. Our mission, as you had mentioned earlier, is just to positively impact our communities by bridging the gap between the leaders of today and the leaders of tomorrow. Our goal in the long term is to be able to have a space where we can do that through the arts, through mental health awareness, through sports and athletic programs. But again, to hone in on the mission, just positively impacting.
And how are you doing that like right now? Because even though you don't have the community center, you're working towards that goal. What kind of foundation are you laying right now? What kind of events are you having? And tell us a little about that.
So we're having we began with a lot of virtual. So now that the world has opened up, we've had a few in-person events. Some of our standout events that we've been having annually as of now are Easter events, food drives, clothing drives. We try to focus our events around the holidays so that they have a bit more purpose and like are more significant. But of course, throughout the year, we do things like field days. We do social. We just recently did a mental health awareness month event that Sienna did a great job. So we have Sienna's on the events team with Janaya, and they put together a great event with a ton of activities that were around mental health awareness month and social media, but fun. Nothing too it was a way of like indirectly addressing the things that some of us are afraid to talk about. Like everyone gets insecure. Social media does affect everyone mentally, whether we want to admit it or not. So just having those conversations and remembering that there was a world before the screen. Put your phone down.
Yes, there was.
So like little things like that. And that was our first majority adult event. It wasn't only adults because of course if you have to bring like your child or anything you could. So and the age ranges were still adult, but however it went from young adult to adult, you know. So to have those conversations with the different generations was just it warmed my heart. Like it was very beautiful.
Brought us all together.
Yeah, it really brought us all together on a topic that like affects us all. So, but for example, that's one of the events where like we'll throw that in. We do plan to do it again. It might be on like a different scale or something. Maybe we'll do like a brunch opposed to a sort of dinner setting. But that's what we're doing. We do things virtually and online.
I love that. Sienna, you saw what they were doing, this amazing idea they had, and you being the triplet of the twins. You were like, how come I want to be down.
I literally
you
said
know what
that.
I'm saying? Like, how you gonna come with this idea and not tell me about it? So now you're part of it. You are excited about what they're doing and you want to join. What was it about what they said and what they shared with you that just made you, so interested in being a part of it?
Yes. Well, what it was I remember like the first a virtual event they had, I think. Well, the first one I remember going to, I don't think it was their first one. It was a virtual, I think it was, what was it, Clubhouse?
Oh, yes, the app
They were
Clubhouse.
talking about gun violence.
Right.
And I was like, oh, okay. So I tuned into the Clubhouse, and we just, it was them, it was Alyssa, Alexa, Janai, and it was a couple of other people. We were just engaging in conversation on gun violence, the importance of, you know, why it's important to have organizations like Youth Community, and encouraging the youth to not be in, you know, those environments so they could be, you know, doing arts, mental health, whatever it is they had to do. So it was that conversation, and just seeing them doing something bigger than ourselves, you know, anything bigger than the community initially is very important to me, because I'm somebody who's very like big on, if I was in that position, I would want somebody to do the same. So that's why I was like, yeah, I got to join this, because it's really purposeful to be in something bigger than yourself.
No, I totally agree with that, and I'm glad. It's so funny that you said it like that too, because that's what I felt this weekend when I was with my daughter and her friends. So I'm hanging out with like 24 to 33, 34-year-olds, and what I saw is that they're hungry for something more and something bigger than themselves, and something that is going to make a difference, and not just them, but just others as well. I saw that passion for just being more. And I think I'm hearing that from you as well. It's not just, you know, I graduated and I get a job and you just do just what's expected in the bare minimum. You want to make changes and you want to equip yourself with those things. And I love that. I love that. So you went on the planning committee. What are you doing? you planning the seminars and the initiatives?
So Janaya is the lead events manager, but I'm right under her. So we work together in planning the events, finding spaces for what exactly it is we're doing. We work together in, you know, just decorating, collaborating. She's really good with like organizing everything and like what we have to do, set up all of that. So that's what I do. But, you know, we all kind of help with every different sector. So
no, I love
it's a
that.
collective effort.
What I love is that it's a bunch of young women that have come together, and like you said, you all are in different careers, different walks, even though you may have grown up together, and after college, a lot of people just go their separate ways. And the fact that you're building this organization that is going to, oh my God, be around for forever, and your great-grandchildren and your great-great-grandchildren will actually be running the organization. And you constructed it, you built it within your family, your core. And I think a lot of young women should see that, you know, just like you mentioned with social media and, you know, mental health and things like that. We need our young kids to have support and to be uplifted by the very people that they've known since they were 5 years old, you know? So I love that you guys are doing this, I really do. So tell me, like, I saw a couple of the events that you had, the social, no social. So basically, tell me, was it that you were talking about social media and the impact of it and the taboos of it, but you also were the participants unable to have their phones? I mean, is that what I'm hearing?
That was, I'm happy that's what you're asking what you got, because that is what we wanted people to get. We said we cannot tell people you can't go on your phone, you can't. So what we did, we had a no social hour.
Okay.
So 1 hour of the event, no social media. Keep your ringer on, because if an emergency happens, yes, pick up your phone, please. But please refrain from social media. Everyone might have an hour a day that they refrain either way, but for those who are on it constantly, you know, put your phone to the side. And not only that, but within this hour, we're gonna be addressing and talking about these specific things. Also gonna be having fun, playing some games. So that's no social. We had that hour within the entire event.
I love that. So in that hour, and your phone is here obviously, and you're not supposed to focus on it, it doesn't even exist at that moment. What was the conversation, what was the dialogue that was going around?
So they had like this one activity where they had people write advice like on cards, and I think that was probably like my favorite, maybe second favorite, but it was an activity where once we read what was on the paper, it was giving advice, and I can't remember off the top of my head verbatim what any of them said, but say it was something like, oh, I'm struggling with comparing, this actually wasn't an exact topic, I still remember the question verbatim, but there was one topic around like struggling with comparing yourself to things that you see on social media, and it was interesting to get different perspectives from the different age groups. One that stood out to me was a young male. He was my older sister's friend, so like 30s, probably mid 30s, late 20s maybe, but he just spoke to the fact that a lot of things that you see on social media are fake in a sense. People are going to only show what they want you to see. They're not always going to show the bad, and no one says you should show the bad, but just because all you're seeing is the positive and people just highlighting the best moments of their year, because the year is pretty long, you know what I mean?
True.
Doesn't mean that you're not as successful or you can't be as good. Like people are just constantly comparing themselves. So that's just an example of one of the topics that we did speak to, and we got different perspectives from different generations.
No, I think that's important. Do you find, Sienna, that was there ever a time that you were kind of ruled by your phone and your social media? Did you go through that at all? Were you able to relate to, the seminar, the discussion, and
absolutely. Yeah, I definitely went through. I would say like high school when social media was like new and fresh for us. Like that was a time like I could not take my phone out of my hands. But as I want to say like college is when I was like, okay, like real life, social media, like, because it started to affect me mentally. Like you start to compare yourself to like different people and stuff on situations that are just like on the phone. It's like surface level, you know what I mean?
Thank you. And it's so sad. I mean, I remember a time too, my daughter, because that's I guess just the mindset, when you have this social media and it's supposed to be something that you're sharing, but you shouldn't be expecting, like reward and accolades and gratifying loves and likes and why? You know what I mean?
It's the dopamine level, I think is what they call it. And it's like, it's something that this generation, like, we are just accustomed to, but even like you spoke earlier to your daughter, like navigating life in a way differently than you had to, like the saying ignorance is bliss. I often ask people, do they agree with that or not? Because with social media, you can see everything. Like you're gonna know what this person's doing. You're gonna have information on that, and especially from a young age too. There's a 5-year-old with a phone in their hand. So just to speak back to our mission, we also want to make sure that there's a space for children and adults, of course, but to get away from that environment and explore, be the best version of themselves and explore their passions.
I love that. So, I love that. Yeah. Well, you mentioned, because I know it's youth community, but I'm hearing that you're sort of speaking to a wide variety of ages. What is your target audience? I mean, considering that it is youth community.
I would say that we don't have a target audience overall. However, we do mainly tend to, like in the beginning, we've been doing stuff, I should say, specifically with the younger crowd, hence us having our first adult event. But the youth community, like you mentioned, the YOU is capital for a reason. We hope to implement more that it's about you being the best version of yourself, and you being the leader that you wish you had as a child, or the leader that you did have as a child, and be that person for someone else. So definitely the you. In youth community, we want to emphasize. We even have the abbreviation YCO that we use sometimes, just so that people can know, like, yes, we are youth community because we do cater to the youth, but we're also bridging that gap and having those events for the older crowd, the parents of the youth too.
I love that. I love that.
And I love your you earrings.
Oh, thank you. So yes, thank you. That's why I was like representing. I should have highlighted these.
It starts with you.
Exactly. And it does. It starts with you, because that's really what Our Unity's mission is. We cannot be unified until we work on ourselves and we figure out who we are, heal the hurts that we've had, walk down that path of sadness and depression, but bring ourselves back up. You know what I mean? And if you didn't or don't have to experience those challenges in life, then use those blessings to bless someone else. You know what I mean? Be the best version of yourself every single day. And that's how the very thing that we're hoping for for the communities to be just happy and to be fulfilled and to have the resources and the tools that they need and not to be struggling will be had. You know what I mean? So I love that you speak to the youth community through real life situations and topics and challenges and things that the world is going through. You mentioned that there was a discussion about violence, about gun violence, correct?
Yes.
So talk to me about, especially the world that we're living in today, how the youth community can help these young kids who may be dealing with mental health and are in these environments where gun violence is prevalent. Like, speak to me about what you want to share, what you want to give them.
We just want to give them a safe haven, really, like to be them, like to not feel like they got to be hard or whatever the case may be, to be them, explore your passions, like Alyssa said, explore your career path, whatever that may be, like just a place where they can be free and not feel like anxiety riddled, and you know, because of what's going on outside, you know what I mean? So that is our main goal, and it's like you said earlier, like you want to bless others, and you know, you want to be in that position, and the fact that I'm in the position to be able to bless others, like I want people to understand that's important, that the youth get blessed as well, because they really are the future. So it's important that they have positive role models like ourselves doing this. So,
I agree. What kind of what void do you really want to fill right now? Like, what do you see in your environment that you kind of want to fill that void now, or you want to instill in the kids now, and as well as adults?
The main void for me would be that to put the phone down. That's the main thing for me, just because we're in a time where screens are kids' best friends. It honestly breaks my heart to see a kid in a park on an iPad. Like, there's a jungle gym right there. Learn how to jump rope. You know, do something that will like lift your spirit, keep you healthy,
active and stimulating.
like you know, really tap into these different things. I feel like it almost like hinders children from exploring all of their abilities because they can easily just distract themselves. So that's, I think, the main void for me at the moment anyways.
Okay, so you want to bring the kids and as well as the adults back into nature, into living, you know, and not being connected and sort of a slave to a phone and to technology and all the things that are trying to take us out right now, all the very things that are not, they may educate us, they can anger us, they can also just give us ideas. I mean, it's hopeful, and it's helpful. That's the word I'm looking for. It's helpful sometimes, but just like with anything, you cannot overindulge, and that is what I think that you're speaking to, because I know that you can use it and can learn from it.
Yeah, there are good sides, you know, definitely, but there's also, and I don't even want to say bad, but it's just that I know there was a world before it that I don't think we should forget. You know?
I say this all the time. Let me tell you something. I leave my phone at home right now and I go crazy. I will be halfway to where I'm going and I will turn back around just so I can get that phone. I was raised in a time where there was no call waiting. It was only a busy signal. And if you don't get me, you don't get me. And yes, I'll speak to you when the line is clear. And now our mindset and just the way we live and our very existence about it's immediate gratification.
Instant, and boundaries are blurred as well.
That was another thing we spoke about.
At the event, boundaries. And stuff.
No, I believe that. It very much is. And I think that the more technology advances, we are also advancing as well. You know, and the things that we desire are becoming to us more like we should have an immediate, tangible. It's more tangible. And so therefore, unfortunately, we become magnetized and mesmerized by the very thing that we should just give just moments to when we need to, and that's it. And find those other times to actually utilize the information that we're learning instead of overstimulating ourselves with it. Because I think that happens a lot as well. You know, you learn something, you love it, and the next thing you know, you watched every YouTube version of it, every Facebook post you're looking up. So it is. I get what you're saying. But if you want to teach this, and especially through youth community, how do you start? What would be your process? I mean, would you look at her face? Yeah, like tell me how you gonna do that. Did you see Sienna?
I had a little glance on the corner of my eye.
She was like, yeah, tell me what youth community is gonna do. Well, I know the idea of these seminars that you're having, these workshops that you're having, I know that's very helpful. How would you build on that? Because I know that it's gotta be a different discussion every time.
So our network has been the greatest blessing in that area. For example, we have a financial literacy program coming up from a woman who has her own accounting organization. So that's how we're building, how we plan, and at the moment, just through our network, partnering with different events and getting spaces, having relationships that are just beneficial, basically. Our goal, our plan to continue to build is definitely having that space in the future that we can call our own, where we can have a program like an after school or a summer camp where all the activities we're doing now are implemented into a whole curriculum for a few months, and then at the end of those few months the kids put on a presentation of everything they've experienced. So that's how we hope to build, how we will build,
that's right. So that's right. So say it, put it into existence. What makes youth community different than any other community, especially for the youth, a community organization out there?
So what I would say sets us apart is we're virtual, we're also in person. We travel with our community in a sense. We're doing the best that we can with our current resources. Also, when looking at other community organizations, most of them are more inner city. We're on the outskirts. We're in Long Island. We're right on that border, but we go deeper in Long Island, go in Queens, and the areas that aren't a train station's right around the corner. We're not in those areas where it's a little bit more suburban instead of city, but yeah, I would say that. And then also, we're just bringing a new perspective. There are tons of clothing stores. There are tons of restaurants. There are I don't know if I'll say tons, but there are definitely multiple community organizations. But there's space for everyone. We're bringing our fresh ideas, and we're passionate. So once you're passionate about something, I feel like there's no way that you could steer people wrong or just do anything wrong if you're just continuously putting that passion and positive energy. So
I love that. Well, what kind of communities? I see you saying the outskirts of Long Island and the end of Queens. What are those communities? What do they look like that you're serving? Because I know that you did the beautiful Easter egg hunt for the kids. I know that the social no social, all of these are in the same location, or are you going to different areas to put these on? And who is coming to these events?
So demographic wise, so I'll say it's vast, it's very vast. African American, Caucasian, Asian.
So
we've seen them. We've seen everybody. So, and I love that. I feel like we really do touch everyone. Location wise, we've done events in Elmont. We've done events in Freeport.
Nice.
We have an event coming up, the financial literacy one in Garden City. We've done events in where was the shoe drive? What part of Queens was that? It was
it wasn't Queens though.
Fresh Meadows.
Flush in that area.
Oh, so you're everywhere.
Yeah, we everywhere.
I love that. So in terms of the mission, which is to bridge the gap from the leaders of today for the leaders of tomorrow, with the leaders of tomorrow. What does that mean to you, the slogan? Because it's a great slogan.
Thank you.
Hey, who came up with that, by the way? Was it you?
I think so.
Well, see, exactly.
I do think I did. Yeah.
So tell me what, I'm going to ask you how you came up with it, but you tell me what does it mean to you?
Well, I think bridging the gap of the leaders of today and tomorrow, I think that just means the community coming together, like you said, youth, I'm gonna say older youth. I'm gonna call the adults older youth because I look at the older adults as like they have a lot of wisdom and we can learn a lot from one another. So I think that's all that means. It's just we have to talk to one another, like you said, because the young people have a lot to say and older people have a lot to say as well, and we can learn a lot from one another.
Yes,
So,
I totally agree with that, and that's why I thought this was so apropos for this conversation today. That when I was with my daughter, it was like it immediately just clicked what this conversation was really going to mean, what the message was, and it's to connect with those young adults in your life, to let them speak what's on their heart and in their on their mind, because we're just vessels of information. We are vessels of knowledge and wisdom, and even you are as a youth. I came to the meeting, they were schooling me. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't know that. And I'm telling you, it was so comforting to know that you can also learn from people younger than you. And I've come from a generation that the older generation just believe that they know best, they're wiser, and you can't tell me anything. And I think that we need to get out of that. These children, we're sending them to school to get an education for a reason, to learn more, to be more educated, to have a broader perspective on life and things of this world. So we have to also let them speak their mind, let their education that we paid for shine. You know what I'm saying? So listen, you tell me, how did you come up with bridging the gap between leaders of today and the leaders of tomorrow?
So it kind of just came to me. I work in PR, so like I'm kind of just good with slogans in a sense. So I think the leaders part really stands out as well, though, because anyone can be a leader as long as they want to be, and it's about showing a good example. Like a leader is someone who someone can look up to, and when a person's a good leader, that person who they're leading becomes a leader. So it's bridging the gap between the leaders of today and the leaders of tomorrow. We want to have positive leaders in the future.
No, I love that. And mentorship actually sort of nurtures that, you know, that you're pouring into these young kids, that if they see that in you, they have no choice but to emulate that as they grow and get older. So I love that. So now we have the organization, you're working on all of these initiatives. Tell me, what is the pulse of the people in the community? What are they saying? How do they feel? I know they're proud as I am of you, but what's the support look like right now?
The support is what keeps me going. It's phenomenal. We get a lot of support from people close to us, family, friends, but also strangers. And that's the support that really kind of stands out, because you're like, wow, you're noticing what we're doing. On our social media, we'll get like comments like, you ladies rock, like this is so cool. And it's just like, wow, people are recognizing what we're doing, and we're doing it just because we're passionate about it. So it's just, that makes it even better. You know, so I think that's what I would say we're getting from the community. Definitely positive. We're looking to grow our community as well. Like, we know that we are still in the more beginning stages. So just continue growing, continue tapping into those audiences, getting that positive feedback, and
just keep going. I love that. That's all you can do. You know what I mean? The passion is there, the desire is there, so it's going to happen. God put it into you for a reason. You know what I mean? So for the organization and your role and what it accomplishes, tell me a little about what that is for you.
My hopes for the organization is that we can have like multiple facilities in the future for the kids, for adults, just for them to have a good time. We can have, I see like arcade, a sports center, a mental health, yoga. Like I see the whole 9 yards, because when they brought me onto this team, like I told them, and I tell them all the time, I'm like really grateful to be a part of this, because you know it's inspirational to see, like, I grew up with them, so it's inspirational to see them, like, you know, taking that initiative by themselves to be like, yeah, we're going to do this, and we're going to go out into the community, and we're going to do it on our own, and they've been doing it on their own since day one, and
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. It's impacting a lot of people's lives, just like your goal and your mission is. So I'm so happy. What challenges, if any, have you experienced or that you're probably currently navigating? Are there any challenges that you guys have come across that haven't not necessarily knocked you off your drive, but
I would say our challenges is just navigating the best way to get to our goal in the future, paperwork wise, like how we want the space to be, like just kind of agreeing on those things so that we can have everyone's vision come to life. Our visions all align, so it hasn't been that challenging or anything, but if I had to think of anything, I would say just, you know, like having that picture in our minds, but what's in my mind might not be the Cece just said a sports center and this. I'm like, okay, yeah, definitely. Like, you know what I mean?
No, we need that.
So a challenge turns into an opportunity too, because it's like, okay, challenge to align, but aligning for better. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes. No, that is so true. But it may be a challenge, but those challenges, they make you stronger.
Yeah, exactly.
You just keep going and pushing through.
You
learn from them. Exactly. So I love that you say that. So in this mission and seeing where you are right now, what hole do you see that you did not see as you were growing up? You said you guys were a part of organizations, you were serving and you were giving back. Is there something that you're seeing today that you did not see when you were a child?
That's a great
Good question, right? Makes you think.
Something that I'm seeing today that I did not see when I was a child. I think I would say, this is just the first thing that comes to my mind, but also a lack of respect. I feel like what I'm seeing that I didn't see when I was younger is the sense of entitlement from some of like the younger generation, which is something that hopefully through something like our organization, we could bridge that gap, speak to the people older and understand that they were your age once too. One thing that I saw recently, it was on social media, I'm sure, like I probably read it on social media, but it said, like, be kind to your parents because remember, it's their first time on this earth too.
Yes.
And that really resonated with me because we often think that the people older than us are supposed to know it all.
Yeah.
But no, like you said, you can learn from people younger than you, but also because of that, like you need to have that respect and understand that we're all like understanding the world at the same time. And the wisdom holds truth.
Yes.
People older than you don't tell you certain things because they're just saying it. It's because they've been there, they've done that.
Yes.
And they're trying their best to help you.
Yes.
So I think that's something that I'm seeing that I did not see when I was younger, that I am so happy we're able to have different activities that help kind of mend that.
No, I really think that's important because again, you know, I keep mentioning my generation, but I think it's important because of what your generation and younger looks like today, you know? And when I was growing up, it was like, do as I say and not as I do, you know? And I really didn't like that because I feel like that sheltered a lot of children from expressing themselves. A lot of children causing them mental harm and anguish, you know what I mean? And also not realizing their dreams and their capabilities, you know? And that to me, I think is what needs to change. And I love the fact that the next generation is so vocal in a lot of things and asks a million questions, but demand the answer, you know? Whereas back then we weren't allowed to. And I also realized for the most part, a lot of our parents were not that educated. So they had to just tell us to shut up and not ask us questions because of the fact they didn't know any better. You know?
There's like two sides to that coin because it could be lack of respect, but also just not being afraid to speak up, you know, and share how you're feeling. It's just to avoid down the line, like what childhood trauma or stuff like that because you were quiet and didn't say how you felt in a specific moment. So there's definitely two sides.
No, you're absolutely right. So tell me, before we go, because time is winding down, Sienna, tell me a little about like what kind of initiatives do you want to put forth? We heard about the sports center, that's going to happen, but like you know, considering you work with Janaya, right? Or Alexa? Janaya. You work with Janaya. So tell me what like new initiatives or seminars you guys are working on or programs.
Well, right now at the moment, they're working on the financial literacy. That's the big one that we're promoting right now. But I believe the next event we have is the back to school event.
Nice.
So I believe that's a virtual event. I will be away
Okay.
in London.
Okay. That's what I'm talking about.
But no, the back to school event is a virtual event, right? Or is it?
Yes.
person?
We'll have like virtual options,
Right,
but
okay.
we'll see as it gets closer. You know,
You'll
we'll
see,
determine
How
how
can
we're
you
gonna
have
do
a
everything.
virtual back to school? How are you giving
So-
book bags over the Zoom?
So virtual might not be the best word for it,
Okay.
but just in the way that you don't have to be in person. So taking donations, and then
Okay,
we work
right.
closely with Bethany House, which is a charity like in the Long Island area, and having that virtual communication with
Okay.
our community
Okay.
to get those like donations, or even if you want to donate school supplies specifically, we do pickups, drop-offs, and then creating it. So like having a virtual in a sense event versus in person where everybody has to come and get everything. Like, no, we'll come to you, and for anyone who wants to help support, virtually communicate
I
with
see
you.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so that makes sense. I needed to understand that.
Yeah,
All right.
great question.
You know, it's like, wait a minute. All right, Sienna, tell me real quick, what do you love about being part of this organization and working with these girls and the impact that it's going to make on the communities?
What I love most about working with youth organization is just the impact that we have on the, like seeing the kids is really what makes me happy. Like seeing the kids be happy, like our Easter extravaganza event is my favorite event because I love to see the kids enjoy the egg hunt and just have a good time. I love the you know, the unity of it all, the camaraderie of it all. I love to see the unification. So I think that is my long-term goal, to just be unified with youth, to have more. I love our events as well. We do a lot of unique events. So I think that's another thing that I'm going to be working more with is events.
I love it. I love that. Share with me, my friend, any like hopes that you have for an initiative or a program for the organization. I know we're doing financial literacy soon and you're working, but I know there's so many other areas that you're going to be tapping into. Is there anything on your heart that you really want to work on? Yeah,
well, because I'm coming from more like an arts background, definitely on my heart would be some sort of music lessons. I'm also into fashion, a fashion show. Like, you know, just bigger and better every time. So definitely things around the arts. Big on my heart.
I love that. And contributing to the community and giving back to the community with whatever you receive from these different events, correct? I love that. All right, so we're almost done. I want you to tell me, what would you like to share with the viewers about youth community, about Alyssa, Allwood? Just tell us real quick, what's on your heart?
On my heart right now is don't put yourself in a box. There's space for everyone. Be the best version of yourself, and that's it. I'm Alyssa. Hi.
And you, Sienna, what would you like to share with the audience?
I would like to share, it's okay not to be okay, you know, it's okay to be surrounded by love and unity, you know, and it's okay to always, you know, have your friends, your family, your loved ones in your space. So,
Yes, I love
that's what I
that.
say.
Okay, and you mentioned, because I think I got like an extra minute. You mentioned that you like to meditate.
I do.
So are you sharing that with as well? Do you want the youth and as well as the adults to know how important that is? Because it's needed. You have to be set, you know? So tell me about that real quick.
But you saying that is reminds me that in our next meeting, I was going to say for like our next mental health event, like we should do like a yoga workshop or just a meditation workshop, because a lot of people don't realize how important like meditating and grounding and calming yourself, like it just could be, you could be out talking to somebody or whatever and just something could tick you off, but you just, you know, you just gotta,
you're gonna
take the
right?
I'm an instructor.
Janaya did a little yoga thing one time. Okay. We do a meditation.
No,
Yes,
I
so
love
we're gonna
that.
do the
No, it's
meditation,
really
mental health.
important. I think if we recenter ourselves, that we are able to be the best version of ourselves because we see things, I think, a little bit more fresher and clearer, you know?
Exactly.
Well, I'd like to thank you ladies for coming. I want to put up your information. We want you guys to reach out to the youth community community.
Yes.
Please contact them at www.youthcom.net, or you can follow them on IG at _the community, or Facebook at Youth Community. And I believe your email is youthli.ny@gmail.com. Please get in touch with these young ladies. Please become part of their events and programs and just help out in any way you can. So I want to get real quick to the Dare to Be You.
Okay.
Dare to Be You. And the Dare to Be You is: leadership is building a bridge that connects the vision with the purpose in order to empower those who are around us. And that is exactly what these young ladies are doing. They are leading by example. They came from a family that was already teaching them how to serve and how to give back and how to be kind and how to just have a heart for others. And these young ladies, although they chose different paths in life in terms of a career, their hearts still remained grounded and the same. They wanted to be those women, those adults that were giving back, that were showing love to their community, that were filling those voids, that wanted to be the voice for the voiceless, and to provide the very resources and tools that a lot of these communities are lacking. So I want you to do as they are doing. Be that leader in your community. As I mentioned earlier, connect with those young adults in your life, even if they're not your children. Go out into the neighborhood, speak to your neighbor, go somewhere with them. Immerse yourself, as I mentioned earlier, in their element. Play a video game with them, go to the bar, have a drink, do whatever you need to do, but listen to them. You would be amazed at their dreams, their hopes, their ideas, their fears. All of those things could be the very same thing that you've experienced, and now you can help them navigate a better road to get past it or to achieve it. So, girls, I'd like to thank you so much for being here. Although it took long for us to make it, we did this, my friends. So I'd like to thank you, Alyssa, so much. I want you guys to come back, please.
Yes,
The
we
other
will.
girls,
Yes, for sure.
the other girls have to come back so we can share what you've done, done and what else you're
the
gonna have
progress
going on.
that you'll see.
Exactly. So I'd like to thank Alyssa and Sienna for being here from Youth Community. I want you guys out there to have a wonderful week. Thank you for joining us here on Your Our Unity. Please remember that peace and love is in the palm of our hand. So go out there, be some love, share some love, give some love, because unity cannot exist without you. I want you to have a wonderful night. Remember that I love you, and we will see you later. Say good night, girls.
Good night.
Strong Island Entertainment.